Now, everybody knows that American politics are broken because they're owned by money, which is why when Bernie Sanders says we should have the same health care as the rest of the world, and people go, that will never happen. It's fairy dust. It's fairy dust. You can't have the same health care as they have in Canada, in America, in the richest, most powerful country in the world. And you know why we can't? Because our government's bought. That's why. And why do I bring this up? Because Citizens United even opened up the door to foreign money coming into our elections, which is supposed to be illegal, but it's happening all the time. In fact, here's from Alternet. First evidence surfaces of foreign money pouring into U.S. elections after Citizens United. And right underneath that, it says, 6 years ago, President Obama warned the nation that foreign corporations could soon pour money into the U.S. election system thanks to the Supreme Court Citizens United. Do you remember during the State of the Union he said that, and they cut to Alito going, remember that? Do you remember that was kind of famous? That,
yes.
No, that's wrong. Well, of course Alito was wrong. Of course he's wrong. And, of course, that's happening. But I don't bring this up because of that. Foreign monies that's coming into our elections. That's unbelievable, by the way. But I saw this.
I just want to say, Jimmy, that your impression of Alito was very spot on.
I saw this. The United States wants the Australian system reformed to remove the influence of Chinese political donations. This is from CBS News. CBS News, the headline, U.S. shocked by China's undue influence in major allies' politics. U.S. is shocked that China is having influence in Australian politics. Domestic opposition and now the U.S. government pushing Australia's government to rethink foreign political donations. Isn't that hilarious? So why is this funny? Because I went to CBSNews.com and I looked that stuff up, and it says the American ambassador to Australia has voiced U.S. concerns over China's impact on Australian politics. The American ambassador is a little upset with the undue influence of foreign money in Australia's politics, saying the United States wants the system reformed to remove the influence of Chinese political donations. It's kind of ballsy telling other people what to do. We're the biggest corrupt system in the world. Our system, completely. There's videos we've showed you. They've proven that legislation only gets passed if the top 10% of earners in America want it. Bottom 90% has no correlation to legislation. Zero. Goes on, Ambassador John Barry. I wonder how much he gave the Clinton Foundation so he could become an ambassador to Australia. Because that's another story we're going to do about how much money people gave and then they became ambassadors, how much they gave to. So Ambassador John Barry said in an interview with the Australian newspaper that the United States is, quote, surprised by the amount of Chinese money and influence in Australian politics and wants Australia to resolve the foreign donation. Come on, you guys, clean up your act. Meanwhile, we don't even have the health care you guys do because we're so corrupt in America.
Is anybody else worried here that they keep being surprised by the influence of another government in politics? Like they have no intelligence?
It's supposed to be, well, they're saying that they're giving money to the politicians, just like they're doing, by the way, in America now because of Citizens United. That is happening. Why we don't have a government that responds to the voters anymore. It's only to the donors, and now lots of them are foreign. So I'm going to read this to you one more time, and it'll become clear why I'm doing that. Ambassador John Barry said in an interview with the Australian newspaper that the United States is surprised by the amount of Chinese money and influence in Australian politics and wants Australia to resolve the foreign donation issue. Now, this next thing was written, and the embassy confirmed in a statement that Barry had been accurately quoted in the interview. They're like, wait a minute, there's no way this. They're like, wait a minute, he didn't say that. Yeah. Come on. He did. Come on.
You sure you want us to publish that?
Did Chris Christie tell us to cut back on our carbs? Come on. What? That's like this. That's what this is.
Yeah. That's going like, all right, last chance. Okay,
this is it.
We're doing it. Your funeral, dumbass. You're a long flight home, idiot.
So now there is the head of the Labour Party in Australia. He's the first Iranian, by the way, to get in Parliament. The Prime Minister pointed to a Chinese language news report that quoted him, Dastari, as saying the South China Sea is China's own affair. Now, what does that have to do? That's because he's taking money from China. And that's what they're saying. Look, this guy's taking money from China, and they paid for some of his airfare and some other stuff. Now he's saying stuff that's favorable to China. That statement contradicted both the government and the opposition's foreign policy position that China should respect international law and territorial disputes. So the government of Australia and the opposition's foreign policy position in Australia is that China should respect international law and territorial disputes. But this guy, the head of the Labour Party, Dastani, or however you say his name, is taking money from the Chinese, and now he says, hey, it's none of our business. Well, that contradicts. So the Prime Minister accused Dastari, who has been dubbed Shanghai Sam, of saying what Chinese donors paid him to say. Sounds very familiar to what happens in America. Isn't that amazing? Oh, so if someone gives you money, then it's more than likely you're going to say what they want you to say, even if you're in government? That's weird. Barry said the United States hopes that, this is our ambassador, Barry says the United States hopes that Australia will protect its core responsibilities against undue influence from governments that don't share our values. This is from The Intercept. Foreign money is flowing into the United States elections, Alito's lying lips notwithstanding. Huh. And from that article, it says, we cannot conceive of a case where a foreign donation from any government, friend or foe, would be considered legitimate in terms of that democracy. So you're not supposed to take any money ever in elections for foreign. We're doing it here in the United States, but we're wagging our finger at Australia. It's weird. And you wonder why people felt like they needed a revolution, because our whole culture is corrupt. And that's why they're like, we had to double check to make sure that was an accurate quote. Are we actually telling other countries how to get the undue influence of money out of their elections? Let's double check. Let's call the ambassador and make sure that's what he said, because I'm pretty sure. Literally, that's like Chris Christie's telling people to cut back on their carbs. Donald Trump is petitioning people to be more racially sensitive. And the Americans want other countries to get the undue influence of foreign cash out of their elections.